Alright, I want to go over the number of EX pluses that I have MLB'd here on this account. So I have Cloud, Ashtola, Varian, Serah, Basch, who's this again? Kuja, Agrius, Locke, Celeste, Tifa, Yuffie, and Rosa. These are the ones I have MLB'd, and then I have at 2 LBs, Ace and Lilithette, and at 0 LBs I have all these, from Ray of Light to Vincent to Fang to Garland to Theus to Squall to Machina to Ferris. Yeah. And then after all that, I have 4 books, 10 nuggets, and 9 ingots remaining. So let's just talk about why I chose to max LB these. So Cloud, he was my first max LB, well he was the first EX plus, so I max LB'd him out of basically experimentation, just to see how he does. He performs very well at max LB. Basically his main draw is the extremely high damage from his EX and max LB, and it's really fast recast too, so basically every other turn you get an EX skill that hits really hard. Also, he has pretty good utility between his launches and the stun, but recently I have not been using him too much now, because I don't really know, I just didn't feel like using him, I guess. I can still make him work first up, but he's not my first pick anymore. I don't really see his power creep at this point, because his utility is still good, and his damage still holds up. Just a playstyle thing, I guess. The second one on the list here, well, it's actually not chronological, so it's just going by the order of, I don't really know when the characters join, I guess. So the second one is Y'shtola. Y'shtola I actually got her from EX token from the Cosmos stage of her Distant Dimensions. I chose her because before I was severely lacking healers. As you can see here, after my EX list, after my EX plus list, I have no healers, and the only healer I have from my entire list was Aerith. I actually do have Charlotta, but I only got her with the Golden Week event free draw. I did not use her in any of the Chaos fights yet, so that's that. But yeah, and Aerith doesn't really hold up as a healer in Chaos difficulties, so I desperately needed a healer. And also, her battery is really good. I got her after I got Tifa also, which means Tifa's guaranteed launch on EX plus her battery is really good. So yeah, this one is definitely high on the recommendation list. This is probably gonna end with as which EX plus I recommend MLBing, so take it what you will. I'm not advocating for any sort of meta or whatever, but this is just how I felt on this account. Also, Y'shtola offers quite a bit of aura. She has 40% attack aura and 20% max break aura. On top of that, she offers a nice generic max break buff for the party, which is not common. So yeah, and she also has turn delay and a full heal, which is really nice. I really enjoy using her. The third on the list here is Varian. He's actually the only one out of the list here I did not use for this in the Dimensions Chaos stages. It's not really to say that he's bad, but he's not really, how do you say, a core member of the group. Like, he does consistent damage. His EX is a good AoE shave, and he has a lot of longevity, but and he also has the Eye Brave aura, which means he fits in a regen team quite well. But aside from that, I don't really see a lot of places that I would like to use him. Like, there's not a lot of places where he shines a lot. This is a common problem within the attackers. It's just like, he's kinda just there. There's no harm in using him, but there's really no significant benefit to using him, which It's not really the best when you bring to chaos. Okay, the fourth one is Serah. I'm fortunate enough to get perfect artifacts on Serah. Not everyone's gonna have that, and thus your performance on how she does is gonna vary. But she becomes a really good buffer in just general attacker, because before her EX plus, her stats were terrible. Even with the perfect artifacts, she can barely do any damage outside from providing her buffs and debuffs. But now she can actually do damage. Her debuffs are potent and her buffs are good, so basically, yeah, she's good. The first one is Basch. Basch is a tank, a damn good one at that. Basically, before I did not get any healers, so that's why I basically have to pull for him to deal with HP damage. Since I have gotten Ishtola and later on Rosa, I have gotten less need for a tank, but tanks are still useful because in all the chaos stages there are unavoidable HP damage, so tanks are a good way to avoid that. Basch basically takes all the HP damage for himself, and then we also have Warrior of Light, which negates all brave damage, so you're only gonna take any just brave gain HP damage, which that is more manageable than, yeah. But basically Basch makes a lot of fights easier because you don't have to worry about HP damage that much. I've used him in Rosa, I've used him in Emperor's event, yeah. He's pretty nice. It's just that outside of his tanking abilities, his offensive abilities may seem lacking at times, and then he may have skill use problems depending on the length of a fight. And if he doesn't heal himself back up, he can die, obviously. So yeah, his speed does not really allow him a lot of time to heal back up, so you have to really watch out for that. Next is Kuja. Kuja is pretty well-rounded magic attacker. He obviously has an AoE focus. I feel he really needs the final LB there because more damage. That's really good. Yeah. I don't really have a lot to say about Kuja. One flaw that he has is his longevity. His HP plus is not really that good, and then once he runs out, he just runs out. Not much you can do about it. And also, there's a thing that you cannot do 2 Ultimas back to back between EXs, or else it won't charge up fully because low action delay stuff. I may talk about EX recast some other time, but right now I'm not feeling like it. Anyways, next is Agrias. Agrias is another really good character. She can actually do damage now, which is really good. Like before, like her utility was great. Like having a silence is great, having AoE chance to stun is good, and then having healing while regen is good. But then like she did like absolutely no damage from her skills. So now with EX Plus, that's fixed. She does a lot of damage. But one thing is that her EX is still very slowly recast, and then her skill count is still a problem, it's only 5 plus 8. So basically she's there for regen healing, a small direct healing from her skill 1, and then her utility stun and silence, because of her additional ability she can actually do 2 guaranteed silences. She also has a party-wide Eye Brave regen, which fits really well with other Eye Brave regen characters like Agrias plus Rosa. Basically gives you free 8k to 9k Brave per turn. If you add Leviathan to that, it's even better. So yeah, that's one viable strategy that I like to use sometimes. Yeah. But anyways, Agrias is definitely very good, so yeah, no regrets maxing her at all. I also maxed her on my other account, and she's doing well there. Next one's Locke. Locke is one that suffers a lot if he doesn't have the max LB. Because before his kit is basically a utility kit, and he has turn manipulation, he has shaving, he has dispels, he has healing, he has AoE. but he doesn't hit hard. He needs the second LB, I'm pretty sure. Was it the second or the first? Let's check. He needs the second LB to give himself 80% more attack, and then he needs the final LB for his EX to hit hard. His EX is actually hitting harder than Cloud's when maxed. So yeah, Locke is good. He has a great deal of utility, and he doesn't offer a ton of auras. He only has a small max brave aura for the party. But between the healing, he can function as off healer. His brave shaming ability is really good, though like his damage output outside of EX is slightly hindered by his head count. Skill 1's only 3 hits, and then his max brave, it's around 30k, but it's consistent 30k, which is not that big of a burst, because in Chaos you kinda need like the potential of high bursts. His EX kinda handles that, but his main damage is still skill 1, so at times he's not the best DPS, but he has a good utility and he hits hard enough. Let's just put it at that. Yeah. Next one is Celeste. Celeste is the ultimate magic tank. Her EX also recasts really fast, so that's great. She's solid. She's very solid. For anything that has magic damage on it, she basically neuters them. Her skill 2 is also Iron Brave based battery, so if you pair her with a Rosa, she can give a party quite a bit of brave with skill 2, and then yeah, basically she just goes on forever. She doesn't die, she outputs very good damage, she neuters any sort of magic damage. Even AoE magic damage gets reduced because with her rework, when the runic buff is on her, the party member takes reduced magic damage, so that's really good. She can't handle AoE HP damage though, so that's something that Basch takes care of, and she can't heal the party either. She can only have a self regen. So she's good for where she's good, but for the content that kind of just resists her, don't even bother. Yeah, the next is Tifa. Tifa's probably surprisingly my favorite pull on this account. She's extremely simple. Like, she just punches things, and then she launches things, and then she delays things. She doesn't offer any party aura. Her utility is only the launch and the delay, but she's really good at what she does. Like, her attacks hit really hard. Her skill 2 is essentially free brave charge and EX charge at the same time. So you can have a really good amount of control on when you can use her EX skill, because her skill 2 basically fills a quarter of the bar on spot, and then she has quite a bit of longevity too. Her additional ability recovers total 3 uses of her skill 1, so she has 13 skill 1s to use, plus skill 2s and EXs. She lasts for a while. Her delay is also really good, and having her with another battery, like Yashtola earlier, she can really capitalize on that launch and do a lot of damage, which is something that I really like. Next up is Yuffie. Yuffie is my most recent EX pull on this account. I pulled her specifically to deal with Chaos 6 for the Furthest End of Dimensions, because you can see I don't have any one to evade debuffs with, so that's my only choice. She worked well. Her EX debuff is really powerful actually, because in Chaos Stages, when the boss gets their buffs, they get really buffed. So being able to stop their buffs is really good. The Brave getting stopped is a secondary effect. Only some bosses rely on Brave King to do damage, for example the Emperor boss. But yeah. Oh, she's also a pretty nice aura as well. 50% attack and max brave. She doesn't really shave that well herself, because she's not meant to be an attacker. But as a support, she pretty much goes anywhere. Yeah, and she's pretty universal in that regards. She doesn't rely on the debuff either, which is really good, unlike some others who have a passive that's only triggered upon debuffs. Next is Rosa. Rosa is pretty much currently the best aura buffer right now. 85% attack, 65% max brave, and 75% initial brave. Basically fits in every team. She also heals with her EX and have a small regen. She has a ton of battery. Her EX getting a free skill means that her longevity is really good. Next is Ace. Ace is pretty good. I would say he and Kuja are pretty much tied for the best magic DPS spot. The reason I did not max LB him is because at the time I don't feel his final LB is really that impactful. It's just more overflow on his EX and more hits. I haven't ran into a situation where I'm using him and I needed that, but it helps. At 2 LB I feel he's perfectly functional. Start with his buffs, which means he gets to do his max stacks faster. One thing he has above Kuja is that his HP plus. That's really good. It's one of the best parts he has over Kuja, because on a long fight, especially on AoE fights, he can AoE shave with HP plus, which saves a lot of skills. Despite skill count wise, he doesn't really have a lot because he needs to spend at least like 2 skills to build up his stacks, which means he only have around 6 full powered skills. His EX also recasts pretty fast, and his EX buffs come in handy if you get the right buffs. Yeah, he's pretty good. Lilithset, she's okay. Lilithset is a funny one because she did not receive a rework, she only got EX plus, which gave her extra Brave plus and HP plus variants, which are good. She still has 6 and 6 skill uses, and it's still battery and debuffs. I don't feel she's really that special, but she works. Like, her debuffs are still quite strong, and there's no reason not to use her. If she... how do I say? It's not like there's no reason not to use her. It's like... she's effective in what she does, but I feel that as the fights get longer, the fact that her skill use count is kinda low and she did not get a rework is sort of limiting her. Her final LB is basically just more hits, which herself doesn't really hit that hard, that's why I just did not go for it. Okay, next, I'm running out of the LB EX pluses, so the ones I'm just gonna go over quickly. Word of Light, Word of Light, he doesn't really need extra LBs, he just shields. And with Rosa, Rosa is pretty much his MLB anyways. Rosa just gives him an insane amount of eye brave, and that makes his shield pretty much unbreakable. He's good, he has shielding, he has aura, he has taunt, he has everything basically. His downside is that his damage output is kinda low, so you need a good attacker to compensate for that. Next is Vincent. Vincent is probably one of the worst EX pluses I feel. The main thing with him is that his EX takes forever to recast, despite it not being a slow EX, but because his action delay is very low on his skills, so his EX takes forever, and then he runs out of skills really fast, and then well, his debuffs are very good, he just doesn't have enough longevity and damage to make it through a chaos fight. It's kind of a shame because I wanted to use his debuffs with stuff, but it was not really designed for chaos difficulty, I feel. It's not correctly tuned. His final LB gave him just more overflow on the EX stats recast quite slowly, which is definitely not worth in my book. Fang falls in the same category. It's like she has even less skill counts than Vincent. Her EX is not as slow, but the utility and damage she offers is just not quite there for Chaos. I mean, of course you can use her, but there are just better options there. Garland looked really good, but there are more attackers to choose from, so I just didn't go for him that badly. Like, the real prize on the banner was Word of Light, which, yeah, you pretty know how well he does. But Garland, along with Y'shtola and Tifa, they can make a pretty good delay team. If you want to do it, like, there are videos on YouTube about it. People have delayed the entirety of the State Chaos 4 and also Kimari's event. Yeah, those. Oh my god, I have all those complaints about those. Pretty much, she doesn't really offer a lot, and yeah, her attack stat is really low. That's the problem. Like, her aura is good, her battery is good, but her attack and max break are low, which means her own damage potential is really low. And she doesn't really offer anything to deal with chaos, so as much as I like her character, I can't justify to be using her, despite saying that I actually maxed her on my other account, and it's not seeing much use, which is slightly unfortunate. And at least, like, they fixed the thing with Barfers not getting enough attack stats later on for more EX pluses. Feels like she was just a guinea pig for it. Next was Squall. Squall falls in the same category as... Okay, Squall, Machina, and Garland falls in the same category of attackers. I have other physical attackers that I can use, and dedicated attackers can get power crept pretty easily. Like, as soon as the boss HP starts ramping up, they start to lag behind a little bit. They are still pretty good, I suppose, at max LB, but I just cannot justify the ingots. Like, I like to hoard stuff, you know. The last one here is Ferris. Ferris is actually really good, but I maxed her on my other account, so I'm probably not gonna max her here. She does okay. Like, her main draw is the Dispel and the debuffs on the Cannon Fire, and yeah, she does what she does well. She has a lot of skill uses, and she offers a pretty good utility too. Like, she has Party Overflow through her EX, well, despite 2 turns, and also the Trap Grave attacks, which is actually very good for sustainability, because later on you just get... Later on, when you start running low on skills, you just get free Brave from the EX, the Whirlpool thing. So yeah. If not for my other account, I've had maxed her here, definitely. Okay, as for the others, Zack, he's getting the EX plus with the new story, which I'm definitely getting and maxing. Terra, I'm not sure if EX plus is enough to save her. Maybe it will, but without the rework, with 6/6 skill uses on a really long recast, it's not looking great. I actually haven't been using Ramza a lot lately. I think at this point, Serah pretty much overtook him. Serah and Rosa combined pretty much overtook him. But once he gets EX plus, I see him come back real quick. Lionheart is a decent tank, but I only used him because I have no other tanks in 5. Maybe when Zack gets his awakening, I'll use him instead. It's just that he doesn't really have the stat for Chaos. That's the annoying thing. He can't really do that much damage. King is pretty much on the bench. Noctis is pretty much on the bench because, well, King is just bad. Noctis just doesn't have the stat to do damage against Chaos. Eris is really turned inefficient. You can't really do much with her. Leo got Awakening recently, but just with EX alone, without EX plus and rework, he's not going to be able to do that well. Ash is kinda just... she was good for the time being, for the time when she was good. Then she just does not have the stat anymore. And then, and also like for Chaos, because like you either go with a full magic team or a full physical team, like, and then just having her with lots of extra buffs on there doesn't really make sense. Laguna's not that great, especially not in Chaos level. Vayne, he's gonna get broken once he gets his EX plus, no joke about that. Ping is pretty decent, haven't seen much use from her lately. Because, well, stat. Like, the stat is really a big problem because, okay, all the EX pluses, almost all of them comes with a passive like 40 to 80% stat increase in either attack or max parade. Some of them only have 20, which is kind of bad, but those are early ones like Cryo, which is sad. But yeah. On top of increased base stats, they have a passive stat increase, which without them, characters can't do effective damage to the bosses in Chaos. Which is why like a lot of the non-EX plus characters, well, they are like definitely good characters, they just don't see a lot of uses because they can barely do any damage. Charlotta, I recently got them from the free poll. Well, I did not get her from the free poll, the one day gacha thing. I got her with tickets. Worth it. Yeah. And then I have some dupes and lightning. The lightning, when she gets her EX plus, she's probably gonna be good, but right now there's no point in investing in her. And the 35 CVs are kinda just mood. Yeah. I think I've rambled on for long enough. I don't think anyone's actually gonna listen to me for that long. Anyways, that's the list of EX pluses I have on this account, and just my brief overview of them if anyone cares. Right, that's gonna be it.